Hey everyone, this is Brett Favre, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packers content. Go Pack.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin here to talk some Packers on the aftermath as the smoke is settled from the Philadelphia Eagles playoff game there in Philly yesterday. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat as it's filing in. Good to see everybody in here. Hopefully you all are having a great Monday morning. Wish it was a victory Monday. I can't say that anyone in here is too surprised with the outcome. We knew it was going to be an uphill battle. We broke it down all week. Next Gen Stats Insights had it as pretty much tilted heavily in Philly's favor. The only thing that gave us hope, or gave me hope anyway, I don't want to speak for everyone else, was when you see 90% of the public on one team in a money line, I'm going, oh boy, we might actually pull this off, right? Because we've seen that all year long where the public has been crazy wrong when you get above 90% of the cash on a money line hit, you got to really perk your ears up and go, hold up a minute. Vegas may know something here. So with that being said, how we doing this morning, boys?
About as good as you can be after your season ends, just another day. How about you, Jacob? How you doing, brother?
I'm taking it better than I usually do. I've tried to make it a point to stay as positive as possible. It was tough yesterday, definitely tough. We'll try to keep it as uplifting as we can today, but we're going to talk about what went wrong. And I think what Andy said right here is pretty prevalent. Is anything I'm glad I have somewhere to go after a loss and still have a laugh. This show sucks. Let's go.
Yeah, amen to that, buddy. Amen.
There you go.
And again, we're not going to do a show to be depressed. That's not going to happen, right? We're going to talk about what happened, why did it happen. We're going to try to find the positives. We're going to point out the negatives, and just give a truthful depiction of what happened. King Tron with the super chat. Thanks for guiding us through the dark last night. Hey, Tron, you guys were awesome. That's the thing. Like the chat, I've had several people reach out and say, hey, man, thanks for the post-game show. It helped. We get a little bit better understanding of what happened. We all kind of ciphered through it together. But you guys helped me last night, too. That's the big thing, is about picking each other up, man. It was a tough loss, no doubt. And the other thing, too, is let those turds float to the top, too. You know what I mean? Let the turds float to the top of the water, and you just skim it right off and move on, right?
We're going to give him some
I don't want those people to be a part of the community if all they're going to do is just rant and rave and show their emotion and everything. It's just it's not worth it. We were disappointed. We sat in here and talked negative last night. The chat talked negative. We got through it together, right? So it's obviously not quite draft season yet. I'm getting a bunch of people going, Clayton, let's go, man. Get into the draft information. Who are the top prospects? All this and that. And I'm trying
the body ain't even cold yet, man.
I'm trying to create a blueprint of, all right, what's the most organized way we can walk through everything? And we got to look at the off-season schedule as well. So we're going to do what the fans want to do, as we always try to do, right, and keep it in an orderly fashion. But, Tron, thank you for the super chat, bud. We appreciate you there. Let's go to some of these chats we have marked here. Andy Watkins in the house says, regardless what a fun season it's been with y'all, and thanks to this channel, the off season is just as enjoyable. Thanks for your hard work, you guys do. I appreciate you, Andy. Same to you, buddy. Thanks for being in here. Nick McSwain, good morning, everyone. Sucks how the season ended, but even if we won, facing the Lions with like 10 injuries wouldn't have went well. LOL. I'm of the opinion you've always got a shot to win every game in the league. I think the worst team in the league can beat the best team in the league on any given Sunday. But he makes a great point. The Lions, man, one thing you could tip your cap to with that Lions coaching staff is they figure out a way to win with these injuries. And that's something we couldn't quite do down the stretch. So you do, man. You got to tip your cap to them with the job that they've done. Job well done. We've got a poll question in here, guys, and I want to get your all's morning thoughts, anything that we're hitting on. The poll question was inspired by, I was listening to the post-game show from ESPN Madison with Homer and Mark Tauscher. And they asked a question. I put poll cred here, so make sure you go show them some love. They did this poll question on Twitter as well. I want to see what our listeners thought. Homer and Tausch, who are you more concerned with going into the 2025 season? Head coach Matt LaFleur or quarterback Jordan Love? And I know many people are their vote would have been neither. I'm good with both of them, and that's totally cool. But that kind of reduces the effect of the poll question itself. Meaning, I don't like to word a poll question. The reason I thought this was a good poll question, I don't like to word it in who deserves more fault, right? I just don't look at it that way. It's like, okay, if you had more concern for one of these two, who would it be? The reason I thought it was a good poll question too was I had a hard time answering it. There's times that I would say Jordan Love, and there's other times, seem like there's more minute times I'd say Matt LaFleur. For me, if I had to vote for one of those two, I would have more concern with Jordan Love than Matt LaFleur. If you guys don't want to answer that poll question, it's totally cool. But I want to give you an opportunity to voice your opinion there too. So, Tim, I'll let you go first if you want to, man. Again, the poll question was, and this was from Homer and Tausch, who were you more concerned with, Matt LaFleur or Jordan Love?
I'm going to probably go your route. I'm not really concerned about either of them. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say Jordan. We can talk about the injury bug and not being 100% and everything. None of that has anything to do with how you make your reads and how you process things post-snap. So there's, sophomore starter year kind of slump in the playoffs particularly and down the stretch, last handful of games. So, I would say it's probably Jordan at this point that I would have some concern. But bottom line, man, you don't build anything by tearing things down the minute there's adversity. So
right.
I'm not with the fire Matt LaFleur crowd. I'm not with the, burn it down, draft 5 quarterbacks and let's, do all this craziness. That I'm not going to do. But, you'd be lying if you said there's no concern with Jordan. So I would say Jordan would probably be the one that I have a little bit of concern with.
Got it. Jacob, what about you, Bo?
I mean, I could take the easy way out and say I'm not concerned with either, but I'm going to actually go against what Tim said, and I'm going to go with Matt LaFleur. I think J. Cole kind of sums it up a little bit. He says, I'm not on the fire Matt LaFleur train, but I am wondering if there's some sort of disconnect between the team and Matt LaFleur. The team looked like they weren't ready to play yesterday. And I've been, started real harsh on LaFleur, got really pro LaFleur. I'm at the point now where I've seen enough evidence where for whatever reason in big games, the guys aren't jacked up. They're just not. They don't come out and put their best foot forward. If anything, it seems like we limp into these games and then we have to just survive. And we can get into how the game started because I tell you what, that's about the worst way you could ever start a game in so many different aspects. So it is. And I think LaFleur actually said that in the post-game conference that basically it was almost insurmountable I don't really like the way he phrased it, but in a way, talk about completely deflating. You see the opening kick, you get it reviewed, you have video freaking evidence. The booth announcers are looking at it going, oh yeah, he clearly recovered it. And then the NFL comes back and says, oh, we didn't have that angle. What? Like, right. I don't. So Matt LaFleur was right that, basically he said, yeah, the NFL stole it from us in the beginning of the freaking game. I don't get how, I don't know. I'm going to get on a rant.
Yeah, no. And what's crazy is, as a Packer fan, we felt that way, right? When we seen it happen. And then I try to step back and go, okay, I'm going to put my tweet out there because I think that's why people follow me. They want to know how I feel, right? They want to know, hey, what's your thoughts, or else they wouldn't be following the account. So it's like, I thought it was BS. And then I kind of sat back and lo and behold, man, all of these different websites, all of these different Twitter handles came in, like the 33rd team, one of the more prominent. I know people like to crap on the 33rd team, but there's literally NFL teams using them to help them make hires, which is hilarious that other people still think that they're not legit. But anyway, 33rd team said, trying to figure out how the Eagles recovered the fumble they never recovered. And you can see in the picture, and again, it's a still shot. I got it. But Keyshawn is on his stomach or on his side, scoops the ball in with both hands. And then a Philly defender tries to put his hand in. Then Keyshawn rolls over on his back, gets 2 hands back on the ball, and now he's laying flat on his back, like you see here, with 2 arms on the ball, right? And it cradled into his stomach. And then everybody piles on, and the Philly ends up coming away with the ball. It's a tough look for the NFL. There's no two ways about it. So it was kind of nice to see other people that aren't Packer fans come flying in like, what the hell's going on? And the thing that we've said all year, I can't think of a Packers season where there were more calls that literally helped determine the outcome of the game that went against the Packers. There's been many years, guys, that I remember going, boy, we caught a break there. Man, we caught a break there, right? This year has been, I can't think of one time where we go, that was a game-changing penalty, a game-changing call, where it was like, holy cow, man, that might have lost us the game right there. And it sucks to have to look at it that way. It really does. So I don't know. Again, we kind of talked about our boy Brad. Was it Brad Allen? Am I thinking right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hit me with that one time if you can, Tim. I need to see our boy Brad Allen make that transformation.
Oh, you're talking about that twerp, that little twerp of a ref we had?
Look at this dirt bag right here.
That no neck. Oh, look at that chinless gutter swamp. Ugh.
Hey, it's nice to know that when we post GIFs in here that we can actually talk over them as opposed to the video. So that's cool, right? I could actually hear y'all while y'all were talking over it. I didn't know last night. Every time you hit it last night, Tim, I was going, I'll stop talking for a minute, you know. But yeah, we can hear each other evidently. So yeah. So anyway, that's a tough look. So Jacob, I mean, I get that. Is it the reason we lost the game? You had other opportunities to win the game. I put more of the blame on the 3 interceptions. Like you can't, you know, if this fumble hadn't happened and you still lose the turnover differential 3-0, your chances of winning or chances of losing is something like, I don't know, it's probably 96, 97%, something crazy. Especially when you take into account there were actually 5 turnovers if you include the turnover on down. So you actually lost it 4-0, right? With this fumble here. It's just it was going to be an uphill battle all night. And that's why I give LaFleur, it's give and take for me. I give LaFleur a little bit of grace because it's like, is it LaFleur's fault that Keyshawn Nixon fumbled that ball? I don't understand how you can blame that on the head coach. And if we're all sitting here saying this was the play that really set the tone for the night and it was just an uphill battle from there on out, you know, LaFleur didn't tell Keyshawn, go out there and be reckless with the football. I personally don't think Keyshawn was crazy reckless. He just got his clock clean, right? And I want to give a shout out to the NFL. Let me say this real quick. The fact that they tweeted out that video of him taking that helmet hit without no flag, and they were looking at it like, this is how you bring the boom.
Yeah.
That's a bad look because that dude is going to get fined. He's going to get fined, and you guys were promoting it. And I'll let you respond here, Jacob. But the thing that came to mind for me is there was a DVD I used to have that was the biggest hits in NFL history. And, you know, they banned that because they got the whole CTE thing fall in their lap, right? And now we're kind of back to promoting that stuff while fining the players. It's just a bad look. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the NFL retweeted it is a bad look. The fact that while the live air coverage is going on and clearly showing the recovery, I think it was Tom Brady is horrible at this job. I mean, he is so bad. And listening to him, he goes, that's a textbook. See the hat right on the ball there? Dude, he straight up Billy Goat headbutted him to the point where, and I absolutely do not like that call. I don't like that the NFL has gone soft, but that's the call now. And it is so textbook, like the dude speared him like Goldberg in the WCW. I mean, he to the point where Nixon's hands just went limp because that's what happens when you get headbutted in the face. And they're sitting there I think I listened to Ryan's pod this morning and they gaslit us. And I hate that when people do that to me while I'm looking at something, while I'm watching it with my own eyes, you're telling me that something else happened. And I'm just like, dude, you guys have no shame. It just absolutely irritates me to a level. Look at that. I mean,
you know what's crazy to take it to another level too? The Elton Jenkins injury, that should have been a spear.
100%.
Used his helmet, the crown of his helmet, to hit Elton right in the shoulder socket, right?
Dude, one of the interceptions, the guy tackles the receiver, and how about the freaking punt where they called kick interference on us when the guy just gets tackled? I mean, it was unreal. It's either at this point, it's either incompetence, gross incompetence, or malicious intent. There's no in between. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Tim, you got anything to add to this awesome call here on the field or lack of call?
Yeah, I don't ever want to hear the virtue signaling crap from the NFL anymore about player safety. Y'all can shut the hell up. I'm over it. Don't talk to me about concussion protocols. Don't talk to me about keeping players safe playing a dangerous game. Guys don't care. And Jacob's right. And the same thing with the officiating. I'm not mad at the refs. I'm mad at the league that employs them and that uses them as tools to influence outcome on games. I don't think any of us at this point can actually watch, NFL football and truly believe that they're trying to get it right. They're clearly not trying to get it right. We see this over and over again, replay assist, multiple reviews. We had a play that we had to use a challenge flag on a play that was reviewed that we shouldn't have even had the challenge to get a call right. The whole thing is a big song and dance. And to me, it's all just smoke and mirrors, and I just don't buy it. So at this point, I'm just, that's my feelings on it. I'm over the whole discussion about player safety. And, I'm sure there'll be 97 more rule changes going into next season again. I don't know if they're going to mess with the kickoffs again or, whatever they're going to do like they do every year, keep moving the bar. I think it's all just a big distraction at this point, and they're not serious. They're clearly not.
Yeah, it's a tough look, man. There's no doubt about it. I was going to try to pull up. I'll just read it to you because it's an actual video. We don't want to get hit with the copyright. I said, and the NFL showed that hit and said, "That's how you bring the boom," is what they said. So I just tweeted out and said, damn, the NFL is flexing on helmet-to-helmet hits now. When does concussion 2 hit theaters? ? So that's a wild look. It really is. The other thing that Tom Brady said, and you guys know, I think Tom Brady's done a good job this year. That's me personally. This game here was hard to listen to because he missed on so many things. Like he said, Dontavion Wicks, or I tweeted out, Dontavion Wicks gets mugged. He was literally for 15 yards. A guy draped over him. He's trying to fight through it. And he's throwing his hands up trying to get over it. And finally you get to the point where, okay, I'm going to try to sell this a little bit and show them, look, he's all over me. You see this, right? I'm going to make it so damn clear that the officials can't look away, essentially is what he was doing. Tom Brady, Wicks did a good acting job there. I'm like, what are you watching? What are you talking about? Right? That was another.
I hope the rumors are true about him. I hope he's done in the booth after this season.
So you don't like him at all either, do you, Tim?
I'm over it, man. If he's going to have his hands tied and all these restrictions on, I can't say this because I'm a vested owner in the Raiders and all this, then go be a damn owner and just get the hell out of the booth or sell your interest in the team and be an analyst, like pick a lane, Tommy boy, because this in between stuff is not great.
Yeah. And then Josh Martin with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He said, we talked about on the pregame show, the ref went over to apologize to Josh Allen during that game. And that was a bad look. Yeah. It's a bad look for the league all the way around. It really is. Thank you, Josh, for the super chat. We appreciate you, pal. Here's another bad take by Brady yesterday. Jalen Hurts overthrew his receiver like 5 to 8 yards. And Tom Brady said, kind of looked like the wind got that ball. I immediately went and screen grabbed the current weather. There was a 3-mile-an-hour breeze in Philadelphia, right? So just a bad look for Brady. Definitely had a bad game. There's no doubt. That was the worst call game I've heard all year. And listen, as a fan, and I want to be honest, I want to be realistic. I have to step back and go, okay, is it just because my team got their ass kicked while he was calling the game? That doesn't change the fact that everything we pointed out, he was wrong on every one of these calls he was talking about. I wish they would let him talk X's and O's. And that's the problem, I think, is they bring these former players in and they try to get them to cater to the casual fan. I guarantee you at the production meetings, they're going, now listen, we're talking to the people that don't really understand football, so if you talk over them, one piece of advice I took, and I won't mention his name, he's a very, very, very prominent football guy who's done actual football TV with ESPN and talking to his people was do not dumb down your material for your audience. You create the content you want to create and have your audience raise their football IQ to the material, right? And I struggle with that because I don't want anyone left behind. I want to take an extra second. I'd rather err on the side of caution of let me explain to them what this is, as opposed to just going, you guys go figure it out and then come talk to us. It's asinine, right? You're being an ass if you do that. But to me, it seems like they don't want Tom Brady to break down the X's and O's. They don't want him to break down like, hey, here's what the quarterbacks look, and you're reading that high, low. That looks like a pick aside. That looks like a true progression.
Then why is he in the booth? That's my whole
exactly.
point. What the hell is he there for?
$25 million down the drain is what it is, right? Or whatever they're paying.
Right.
I think it was $25 million. So
like that's the reason, right? He's got all the rings. He's, the GOAT quarterback, whatever, right? That's what the narrative is. But like, we don't want to hear you talk about X's and O's, Tom. It's like, really? I'm sorry.
No, it's true, man. It's true. It's very well said.
We certainly don't want to hear him talk about the weather report and the wind.
That's exactly right. King Tron, let's see, with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, damn, Clay, 17.5K posts. That's a pundit, LOL. Do I really have 17,000 tweets? Is that true? I have had Mandy say several times, you and that damn Twitter.
Heard it from a fan right here.
But that's wild. I can't believe it's grown the way it has. But, I try to be respectful on there, too. I try to do it a different way, which isn't a popular way. If you want to get a lot of views, a lot of likes, you want to try to dunk on people, and I just can't do it. I can't stand it. If people dunk on me, you're getting blocked. I don't need your follow. If you're coming in, if the only time I hear from you is you want to come in and disagree, bro, we're just going to part ways. That's why yesterday, receiving text threads, text messages from people, this and that, I can't be that sounding board anymore. I can't be that dude that while I'm watching the game and I'm getting pissed off at my team's getting killed, that other people are going to text me and tell me how bad this team is. It's like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't, man. So I snapped on about a half a dozen people yesterday, like, hey, lose my number, please. Like, can't do it anymore. Sorry. You want to talk constructively? Yeah. You want to talk about a solution? Yeah. But if it's just going to be, all right, let's all get in a text thread and for 3 hours, let's complain like 13-year-olds. I ain't going to do it. Can't do it, man. So anyway, thank you for the super chat there, man. Josh Jacobs was actually, let's get caught up in the chat real quick, and then we're going to get into a little bit of kind of setting the stage for the offseason, which I'm really, really excited for. Nick McSwain, keep seeing people say that it's on LaFleur to get the team ready, but I feel like it's more on the players. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. I tend to lean toward Nick's way of thinking there. When I hear people say, well, it's like Rich Bisaccia. When there's a special team, well, it's his job to get them ready. It's his, okay, you're not going to convince me that Rich Bisaccia, right? And this is just drawing a parallel to Matt LaFleur. You're not going to convince me that it's on Rich Bisaccia to go up to Keyshawn Nixon and go, hey, bud, listen, before every kickoff, don't fumble. Don't fumble. He knows that. We've practiced that, right? Anybody who's played Pee Wee football knows the top priority is protecting the football, okay? So does that mean, does it mean he was carrying the ball recklessly? No. But what is an aspect of that is you can't just run full speed into a group of people knowing they're coming full speed. The ball's probably going to get jarred loose if you just run directly into another human being in the middle of a pile, right? So I kind of lean with Nick there is what I'm trying to say. To me, it's more on the players and the coaches in that regard. I put the scheme on coaches. If I see a huge scheme flaw, I'm going to call it out. Like, for instance, one of the things I have against Matt LaFleur right now is where is the play action pass from under center? Why are we now? You guys remember? Let's rewind 2 years ago. You remember what the argument was, right? Aaron Rodgers. We need to get Aaron Rodgers out of here because he refuses to run play action under center. He doesn't want to do it. He wants to play everything from the gun. Can we put that to bed now? Finally, because we've seen it last year, and now we've seen it this year, and now it's is it the knee? Is it the knee? Is it the knee? I think it's the way Matt LaFleur wants to call the game. And if you want to call the game the majority of the time from a drop back passing game, which is what we did yesterday, guys, the reality is, let me find it real quick. I'll come back to the Josh Jacobs stuff. Let's see here. Somebody put a tweet out earlier, and here we go. It was Brett Coleman. And I think I'm trying to think of what he does. Gosh, I can't think of the name of it. Film room creator, co-host of the Bootleg Football Podcast. Great podcast, by the way. You're talking about X's and O's and breaking down stuff that we try to break down here. This is what he said in this tweet. These are, it says, Jordan Love's stats on true dropbacks this season, including today. Now, keep in mind, we're upset, at least I'm upset, and I'll get your all's take, that Matt LaFleur isn't running more play action boot from under center. These are non-play action, non-RPO, non-screen pass attempts. Just drop back and rip it. Okay, so there's no play action, There's no RPO, a run pass option attached to the play, none of that. His stats, 57.7% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 7.5 yards per attempt, and a 77.6 rating. Okay. So, and I think he went on to break it down for context among all quarterbacks on true dropbacks. That's 26th in completion percentage, 27th in passer rating, and the worst touchdown to interception ratio among all starters. Now, it's easy to see that and go, Jordan Love's trash. No, your head coach did not put him in the best position to be successful. If you see those numbers, and I promise you they know those numbers because they have a self-scouting department, you got to go, okay, Jordan's strength is not drop back passing. We got to get him bootlegging out play action pass from under center more often than not. And the RPO game, which won Aaron Rodgers 2 straight MVPs, everyone was up. Not everyone, I shouldn't say that. A lot of fans were upset because we need to get away from this RPO. We need to get away from this RPO. We need more play action. We need more motion, this and that. It works. It works in the league. Does the league catch up sometimes? Absolutely, right? And maybe this is a huge byproduct of the league catching up to those RPO passes. So your all's take on that. Then we'll get to that super chat.
I agree. I think we got Jordan under center too little too late in that ball game last night. And then when we were under center, we saw under center handoffs or straight up, an under center drop back, but never a play action. I kept waiting for it, thinking it was going to happen, and we didn't see it. So I agree with that sentiment. And the sentiment that maybe we need a different approach offensively when it comes to play calling. That's a fair critique, because I agree. I don't think we did our offense any favor, banged up or not, by some of the play calls that we've had. And really, it's not just last night. We could go back to weeks 16 and 17 too, and see the same kind of mess. So I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, just real quick, and we'll obviously get to Ron's. I agree. I just think the situational play calling has been atrocious this year. I really do. And it's been really weird too, because we've talked about how many times we'll see something working, and for whatever reason, we just go away from it. Or we see something that's clearly not working, and for whatever reason, we don't go away from it. I mean, the passing on first down, I don't understand how many times you have to see that and it doesn't work out. I mean, it just logistically, it makes you scratch your head every time. But
and here's we'll get to Ron's, but since you mentioned first down passing last night, I could have missed a couple. I think I got them all. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. We were 7 of 12 on first down passes plus a sack as well. Is that good? I mean, if you look at 7 of 12 completion percentage, that's not a horrible completion percentage. But the fact that 5 of those plays felt incomplete on first down. Now, also keep in mind, many of those, I always try to chart it through half, which I think is important. You would say, okay, well, Clayton, we were losing most of the game. That's probably why that happened, right? Well, first down passing, we had 6 first down passes in the first half and 6 first down passes in the second half. So it wasn't just because we were losing, right? Now, they were stopping the run some too, but Jacob, since you brung that up, I wanted to point out those were the numbers. 7 of 12 on first down passing plus a sack. So go ahead. Let's do this, Ron Samuel super chat here. To me, the biggest turning point in the game was Jenkins going out, 4 critical penalties by replacements, along with being dominated down after down. I think it's a very good point, Ron. I said it last night on the post-game show. I think you guys agree. I never would have imagined that Elton Jenkins played that much of a role on this offensive line. You see, this is a perfect example. You look at his PFF grade and you go, he ain't that great. And then you watch him go out of the game and how this offensive line crumbled. And I want to add this, and we'll go around the horn with this question from Ron, or this comment from Ron. The people who were saying we should have drafted Cooper DeJean over Jordan Morgan, and then you see what happens with the offensive line. To me, that there's more credit given now, in my opinion, to why Goody took Jordan Morgan is because he sees the lack of depth on this offensive line. If your argument is, well, you drafted somebody who got hurt, get the hell out of here. That injuries happen in football. They happen. So, if anything, I'm understanding why Goody made that pick. If I redrafted, would I take DeJean over Jordan Morgan? Possibly. But where is Javon Bullard playing if you do that, right? Do you not draft Javon Bullard? Here's the other thing. If you take Cooper DeJean, do you not draft Edgerrin Cooper now? Now what? Now how's the defense look, right? You can't just say this one thing happens and everything's fixed, because it changes a multitude of things. So I just wanted to mention that Jordan Morgan pick, if Jordan Morgan was healthy and he comes into play at left guard there, I like our chances a lot more than Kadeem Telford and some of these guys that just couldn't handle the load. But go ahead around the horn with that there, Jacob. What do you think about Ron Samble and Jenkins' comment?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it was a big catalyst for us kind of just slowly falling apart after that. You know, brick by brick, it seemed like that this Packers team just was slowly getting just knocked down. And as much as Emilio was excited as all get out, I'm sure, when Glover trotted out there, but boy, did that get sour pretty quick. Glover looked the part. He looked like like he was a very imposing, good looking dude, got the size, the skill, all that, but just was an absolute liability right there. I think he got 2 holding calls, and then maybe was responsible for a couple really messy plays there. And then honestly, Telfort, that dude is massive when he got in. Here's Emilio. Glover, there you go, buddy. Get back to work. Get back to work, Emilio. It kind of did fall apart right there. And like you said, Clay, it's one of those guys that you didn't realize was so important in that rung of the offensive line, maybe even just as a leadership role. When he went out, Myers got hurt. I mean, everybody was just, by the end of that game, man, I mean, we talked about how bruising and physical Philadelphia is, and it sucks to say, but we got absolutely outmatched at that point. By the end of the game, when our guys left limping and in slings, I mean, it was almost comical. Like, it was like a cartoon matchup. It just stinks.
Yeah, when you said Glover looked the part, I thought you meant he looked like a rookie being thrown into the fire.
I mean, honestly, that is kind of what I mean.
He did. He looked like a rookie playing against like the best defensive front in the National Football League. So,
where was Glover drafted, or was he even drafted? I'm trying to think.
No, I thought it was UDFA. No, he was drafted. I thought.
Really? I thought he was.
Was he Southern Georgia? No, he probably didn't get drafted out of Southern Georgia. Emilio, where was he?
Travis Glover draft pick. Let's ask the old AI here. 6th round.
Okay, late
round
pick.
Again, Tim, right? 6th round pick, 6th round rookie coming in to play the best defensive line in football, arguably. What do you expect? Right.
I'll do you one better. You talk about the importance of Elton Jenkins, and there's a big portion of the fan base that wants him to be the center. I don't like him at center. I like him at left guard. Let's say Big E was available and Josh Myers got hurt earlier in the game, and you had to move Elton over to center, and then you still have to put Glover in, or you still have to put Telford in at left guard. I think we get the same result with our O-line. It's moving that piece and having to move so many things around that can really screw you over. So I truly believe I think there's validity to the sentiment that the center of the future is already on this team, whether that's Sean Ryan or some people think it's Elton Jenkins. That could be true, but I still think that's a position you want to look at targeting either in the draft or free agency.
Completely agree, Tim. Completely agree with that, man. Again, Ron, thank you for the super chat, Bob. Let's go through rapid fire with the chat. You got anything else to add to that, Jacob? Did you want to make another point? No, you're good. Okay. Nick McSwain, keep seeing people say this on the floor to get red team. Okay, we already hit that one, right? Nick McSwain, I'm not really concerned with either Love or LaFleur, but I picked Love. I think that's what most people would have said is I'm not concerned. That's why I wanted to differentiate between the two to get an answer. Feel like he's missed open throws lately, so he thinks it's a little bit more on Love than LaFleur. There's definitely been some inaccuracy. There's definitely been that hesitation to scramble when it's there on the field. Like last night, he had a good 8 yards in front of him, and what did he do? He got right to the line of scrimmage, whipped it out to the left to Emmanuel Wilson. It was completely covered. Pass drop, wasted play, right? Yep. You got to be able to pick up those positive plays for sure. Packers Kingdom Clayton, we are linked to T. Higgins. How you feel about that? I'd like to know how we're linked, Packers Kingdom, because you got to be careful. And they may be the front runner like we were the front runner for Xavier McKinney, right? You got to be careful with that stuff because let me tell you, buddy, the clickbait is out there. My God.
Oh, yeah. Somebody on Twitter just posted T. Higgins coming to Green Bay, and now, of course, we're linked to T. Higgins.
So if you know how they're linked, Packers Kingdom, let us know in case it is like a valid source. I just don't see anybody being truly linked at this moment because it's so early in the process.
And for everybody excited about T. Higgins, he's been about as available as Christian Watson has been the past season or two. So if you think he's some massive upgrade, check your resume at the door.
If that is true, and I haven't checked it, if he hasn't been as available as Christian Watson.
No, he has been. I'm saying he has been about that available. So for all the people calling Christian Watson glass and injury prone, Higgins has dealt with the same kind of crap. He's missed the same amount of time.
It happens in the league.
It's called being a pro football player. Yep.
Right. Exactly. Andy Watkins did not have the same feeling I had last year with Jordan Love. That's for sure. Something seemed off, but I don't know. I'm just a fan. Hey, I'm just a fan too, Andy. I feel what you're saying. It does feel like something's off. To me, it's more about the processing than it is the actual talent. That's the part that bothers me is like how many times we've seen him not get to the answer to the equation quick enough. And then like we just mentioned on scrambling, choosing not to scramble. Again, that's processing the information as well. So Turtles, Jacobs going to recruit Crosby. Since you brung that up, So Turtles, I got it right here. Here is Josh Jacobs in the locker room immediately following the game. Sounds like he's ready to hit the recruiting trail. As Dominic Yates tweeted this out, Josh Jacobs said the motivation for 2025 is for the Packers to get over the hump when facing the top-tier teams. As far as next year's roster, he says, quote, I know I'm going to try to get some guys in here, most definitely that. Immediately people think of Max Crosby. Here's the actual comment, and then I want to get your all's take on it.
Main thing on my mind is figure out, how do we take that step? How do I help the guys take that step? But also, man, we got some guys that, like I said, that our locker room is going to be different. We got some guys due for a contract this year. And we don't know what that's going to look like, how that's going to shake up. But I know I'm going to try to get some guys in here. So most definitely that. Main thing.
All right. So immediately people shift their focus to the Raiders, his former team. And boy, oh boy, do they have a bunch of free agents that are, on defense too, right? They just let go of their head coach. The new head coach is going to come in and want to change things up. Now, if I don't care who the head coach is, if you come in and you got Max Crosby as one of your edge defenders and it's that important of a position, I have a hard time believing that new head coach is going to go, let's get him out of here, right? Because it's such an important position. It doesn't mean we couldn't land Max Crosby. All it takes is Max Crosby saying, hey, I want out of here, and they'll probably trade him because the new head coach definitely doesn't want people. They want volunteers, right? They don't want hostages. So your all's take on what Josh Jacobs said there. I'm not saying he's going full-blown Aaron Rodgers mode, like they need to let me pick the players, but it's cool that that's where his mind's at after immediately the season ending is I got to do everything I can to help get some other guys in here too, because I will tell you this, as much as I love being the youngest team in the league, guys, when you talk about mistakes and you talk about getting manhandled up front and you talk about all of these things, all these mental errors that everyone wants to throw at the coach's feet, that's the byproduct of having the youngest team in the league. If that wasn't the case, every team would try to be the youngest team in the league. And one thing I like to do when we get to the final four teams in the playoffs every year is I really like to look at their roster and go, how are they built? That's why center is so important to me. Every damn year, the final two or final four teams have solid centers, one of the best centers in the game. And many people just like to roll their eyes and go, center isn't that important. Go get me a T. Higgins, right? Right. Yeah, you got to be built in the trenches. You got beat in the trenches yesterday is how you got beat.
Go get me Max Crosby. So help me God if we bring another edge in here before we fix that interior defensive line. I'm going to puke.
Right.
Get interior offensive line. Let's get a center, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't want Max Crosby in the green and gold. I would be insane to say that, but I don't want that to happen before we handle other issues that we have, glaringly obvious issues we have on our lines.
And here's what we're talking about with the interior. Jacob, we'll turn it over to you here. Remember our Kenny Clark predictions at the first of the year in this 4-3 defense? You guys remember when we did that? I've still got it here. In what do we call it? Dry erase marker, in the grease on the board, still here wrote down. Here were our predictions. Because, Kenny last year had a career-high sack total. You guys remember that? We talked about that going into the offseason. Yep. And I still wasn't a huge fan. You guys know why. No reason to rehash it. It's mainly because of the run defense. Here were the predictions in the 4-3. Sacks, I said 9.5. Jacob said 10 plus. Tim said 10.5, and Emilio said 8.5. Kenny Clark's sack total on the year.
He had two.
One. Unless he got one last night. Did he get one last night? He didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
One sack. All right. Ready for this? Tackles. I think it was just tackles, I believe. Let me see here. Let me make sure here. Tackles. I think it was tackles because, defensive linemen are getting tackles in the interior. They're probably not downfield, right? I said 45. Jacob said 40. Tim said 45. And Emilio said 55. His tackles this year, just tackles, not tackles for loss, just tackles, 37.
Damn.
Okay. And then PFF grade, I don't have it pulled up. I'll try to find it right now. I said 77. Jacob said 75. Tim said 80. Emilio said 78. I'm going to go look at that PFF grade. He underperformed in every single category. And all we heard last year was, boy, Kenny's going to be unlocked because we're finally out of this stupid Joe Barry defense where he has to play two gaps. We all talked about that. Jacob, you have the floor there. What do you think about those numbers, man? I'm glad I kept it too.
It's very disappointing. I mean, we're at that point of the season where you have to be honest, see something, say something. I've been critical of Kenny since he got the bag, and I don't think that he has performed anywhere near what the expectations were. Holmes says we need a 3-tech more than an edge.
Amen.
Talking about that. McSwain was asking how old Crosby is. He's 27, so he does, he's still a younger guy. But one thing, too, to keep in mind is Crosby is a player that plays almost 100% of the defensive snaps. Do you think he's going to come to Green Bay and want to cut that in half? I mean, I don't know. Maybe Green Bay would say, all right, this is the way this guy plays, so we're going to let him be a brute out there. But you got to think about stuff like that. I agree. The 3-tech, I mean, honestly, we need probably a legitimate pillar, like the 1-tech. Slayton has outperformed what I think his capabilities were. He was kind of an idiot last night and made some dumb, boneheaded plays. I think you're right. We need to shore up that interior defensive line, and we've tried taking guys like Carl Brooks and Wooden and Wyatt, and nobody has broken out. Kenny Clark has just been stagnant, and I agree because like we've seen what we can do right now with the guys on the secondary. We have blue chip player now, a second safety that's a blue chip player. We have an emerging linebacker and Edgerrin Cooper that I think is a blue chip player. We've got Gary, which at times he can, very much be a dominant DN, but there's just really nobody on that line that's solidifying himself as an actual blue chipper.
Gary had a down year too, right? Everybody had a down year. My only argument with Gary, we said all year long, and I know you agree, Jacob, is like he's the best on the defensive line, though. So if everybody's play lowers with the new defense, and this one dude who's always been the best on the defensive line is still the best, you don't throw him out with the bathwater, right? But yeah, he definitely had a down year too. Everybody across the line did. That's all great points there. That's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour two. We appreciate y'all.